what is going on? She's just deleted her Twitter. She's getting called out because it was exposed, because an interview got brought up.
Following her exposure by Caitlin Clark in front of the entire league, the president of the Indiana Fever is in full-blown panic mode. The criticism is intensifying by the hour, and many are in disbelief.
I'm not joking when I say this. Something's gone weirdly wrong. Like, we hired a freaking chronically online GM.
But wait. This goes beyond a single news conference or a widely shared video. The story is far more complex. I also have all the information.
I have said before, and I will say it again, Stephanie White, Amber Cox, Kelly Crosscroft, the Indiana Fever president, they were not ready. Now, Christine Brennan in her book confirmed. The WNBA and the Indiana Fever did not realize what they were about to get themselves into with drafting Caitlin Clark, because the popularity they weren't prepared for and didn't see coming.
Caitlin Clark supporters are not remaining silent after the Indiana Fever's front office took a horrible turn. The rookie, who has been packing arenas and making the WNBA a must-watch television program on her own, is suddenly coming under fire from her own team president. Yes, Kelly Crosscroft said something so tone-deaf that it rocked the fan base. "We wish for the Fever to resemble Apple." It sounds like she's referring to Clark by the iPhone case rather than the iPhone itself, which makes it an odd flex. Let's not mince words. The Fever is relevant because of Caitlin. It's her presence that keeps national cameras rolling and merchandise flying off shelves. However, the team's top executives appear more intent in downplaying her significance than in praising that. The fans didn't like it. Backlash on social media erupted, denouncing the comment for what it was. Simple and straightforward. Disrespect. Crosscroft then committed a disappearance act. Overnight, her former account disappeared. No explanation, no apology, just gone. She logged out in the hopes that the heat would go away, as if she recognized she had made a mistake. However, that is too late. Fever fans and the internet both never forget.
Yes, Stephanie White, every single solitary move that you make is going to be scrutinized. Welcome to it. Right here.
When someone deletes their social media accounts during a scandal, you can tell they're feeling the heat. Kelly Crosscroft, the president of the Fever, did just that after her now famous Apple remark about the team went viral, and not in the way she had wanted. The public didn't hold back. Supporters of Clark swarmed like bees on a dropped drink as soon as the video went viral, denouncing Crosscroft for attempting to use a commercial metaphor to degrade Caitlin Clark, the literal force behind the WNBA's current significance, to a generic product. Crosscroft had deleted his old account by Friday night. Just poof, with no remark, explanation, or attempt at cleanup. Furthermore, that silence spoke louder than any PR statement ever could. Fans were furious, not just disappointed. We're speaking of season ticket holders, ardent fans who have been wearing Fever gear during unsuccessful seasons, and they now feel deceived. The moment they've all been waiting for is being purposefully fumbled by their team's front office. Even worse, this followed weeks of silence over Clark's courtroom treatment. Game after game, she's been thrown around by referees who act as though they forgot their whistles at home. Furthermore, her own president is now unable to recognize her worth without bringing up the brand. Please. The fact that Crosscroft fled to the hills only served to confirm the supporters' suspicions, who saw right through it. It's now a full-blown trust issue rather than just poor optics. And the match was ignited by the Fever's front office. Sophie Cunningham followed. But before we get started, please click like if you believe Caitlin is being singled out on purpose. If you believe that the references are simply blind, please leave a comment. Yes, please hit the subscribe button. From here, things will only get more chaotic.
If I was a ref, I know I would mess up all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying that your job is easy, but when it is a simple call right in front of your face multiple times. What are you doing?
You said just go tomorrow. You're on the Las Vegas Strip. What can the Las Vegas expect from Sophie?
Oh, you know what? I'm just gonna be me. I don't go in there trying to predetermine anything. I'm dialed in. I need to focus on hitting my shots, making sure I'm executing the schemes right. I'm not focused on the extracurricular activities. And you know what? During that, it was just part of the game. I think the refs had a lot to do with that. It was a build-up for a couple of years now of them just not protecting, the star player of the WNBA. And so at the end of the day, I'm going to protect my teammates. That's what I do. And I'm a team player, so it's all good.
Caitlin Clark, the unofficial vice president of Try That on Our Court and You'll Get Dropped, has Sophie Cunningham as her self-declared bodyguard. She simply set the league on fire with her statements. Sophie lost her mind during the first episode of her podcast, Show Me Something. Her uncut monologue was taken directly from a Netflix show. She wasn't simply aiming at rivals, either. Everyone was at fault, particularly those who minimized Caitlin Clark's contribution to the league. She said, "You're literally dumb, not once, twice, but 3 times." The video went viral on X, YouTube, and TikTok. It's the catchphrase right now, and Sophie was well aware of what she was doing. She does more than simply chat, though. This is the same Sophie who, after Clark took an elbow to the face, recently body-checked a Connecticut Sun player into a different time zone. She didn't care that she was ejected. She declared, "I'm going to defend my teammates." Do that. This is where it becomes more complex, though. Sophie did more than simply criticize opponents or poor officiating. She opened fire on the Indiana Fever, her own team. She asserts that the locker room is where some of the genuine contempt for Caitlin originates. Her podcast is being referred to as a declaration of war by some close to the team. Fans have been feeling that strain, and it's real. The WNBA's culture war between viral sensations and traditional veterans isn't exclusive to the league. It is currently simmering in Indiana. Furthermore, Sophie isn't here to be kind. She is here to blow everything up.
It wasn't a dirty play. It was an intentional foul, and it was meant to send a message. It turned into a scuffle, and I don't think anybody wanted that. But the way that the game went and how egregious the referees were and how they were not protecting players, and they especially weren't protecting the #1 player in this league, the biggest draw in this league, which is Caitlin Clark, and they continue to not do that. To me, this was not a dirty play. This was making a statement because the referees didn't do their damn job. This would not have happened at the end of the game if the referees did their job during the first play. If the referees did their job, not just the first play, every single play leading up to that. If the referees had control of the game, that is their only job. The referees' first job, their #1 job, is to protect their players.
I get it to a certain extent, and every rookie coming into the league, that's how you're going to treat them. But there's just more for her.
Simply put, let's say it. On the court, Caitlin Clark is being pursued. The referees were dead silence while elbows, body checks, and gouged eyes occurred. There would be messages, suspensions, and breaking news alerts if someone had touched Steph or LeBron in that way in the NBA. However, Clark is robbed in the W, and play continues. Consider the Fever versus Liberty match on May 24th. Natasha Cloud rams Clark in the middle. In a 2-point game, there is apparent contact with the shoulder down. The referees gazed fixedly. "Are y'all serious right now?" Clark asked, his palms up, without a foul or response. In the meantime, the Liberty celebrate as the buzzer sounds. Sophie Cunningham was unreserved. "There's just more for her," she said, feeling burnt dirt once more. She is correct. The harsh and noisy double standard is now unavoidable. This is targeted chaos rather than tough defense. Some competing players have even subtly acknowledged the existence of an implicit objective. Make her work for it. That's code for breaking her before she becomes too obvious, though. And that's precisely what's taking place. Clark won't break, though. She wasn't there for a glorified hazing ritual at the league. She took control. Sophie is out there throwing shoulders and fire on the mic like it's her full-time job when referees don't raise the alarm. This goes beyond a few poor decisions. It's starting to catch on. To be honest, I'm beginning to suspect that a conspiracy is underway. You are aware that this is more than just a basketball story if you are still here. Therefore, don't only watch, get in the mix. Subscribe, like, and comment to keep up with the latest. The next twist can appear at any moment.
That we want to sustain the growth and the interest level in the franchise. I mean, this is about the Indiana Fever. Yes, we have a foundational player in Caitlin Clark and Leah Boston, and we're going to continue to add to that. But I want this team to be the leader in the country, and a brand, an enduring brand, like Apple or something. I mean, we have a real.
Behind the scenes in Indiana, things are not going well. And now there is actual battle going on, not just theatrics. The corporate suits on one side are attempting to shape the Fever into a refined brand akin to Apple. Conversely, athletes, supporters, and even opposition coaches are aware of the reality. The brand is Caitlin Clark. For a period. This is where things become icy, though. Fever. Things went south when President Kelly Krokoff chose to minimize Clark's influence. Here comes Sophie Cunningham, who not only disagreed but also threw a fit at her own supervisors. Furthermore, this wasn't a spontaneous emotional outburst during the interview. Not at all. The podcast tirade was prearranged, according to insiders. A planned attack following the president's remarks. Sophie did more than disparage the WNBA. She displayed receipts and publicly called out her own front office. That isn't annoyance. Rebellion is that. To be honest, it revealed a serious identity crisis inside the franchise. The Fever already have the focal point, but they still wish to establish a dynasty. Additionally, they are behaving as though she is a threat rather than appreciating her. The group is now divided. Some people firmly believe that Caitlin will be the future. Others are holding onto control from the past. And you know what? The supporters are not blind. Sophie isn't either. Krokoff isn't either, based on that enigmatic deleted X account. Let's be honest.
Second, take a look here.
What the WNBA is doing with Caitlin Clark is the equivalent of the NBA doing this to Michael Jordan in 1986. It just doesn't make sense to me. You are biting the hand that feeds you. Mind you, without Caitlin Clark,
Twitter would melt if this were LeBron James being smashed to the ground following an eye poke. It would be operated on loop by the Sports Center. However, Caitlin Clark receives crickets from the league, a crunch, and no whistle. Imagine Steph Curry playing without any protection and getting battered game after game. Would the NBA simply ignore it? Absolutely not. However, Caitlin Clark is experiencing precisely that. She is more than a novice. She is the reason why anyone is watching women's basketball. It's all Clark, the sold-out arenas, the ratings. She is the source of income. She's also being treated like a bench warmer in some way. The best words were said by Sophie Cunningham. Not acceptable. Coach Stephanie White used a news conference as an opportunity to attack the referees for repeatedly overlooking it. It is seen by the fans. It is seen by the media. However, the league was mute. This is the unpleasant reality. This league would bend down if Clark were a guy. Rather, she is being pushed around while the executives on her own team seldom do anything. Sophie is standing up for her. For her, the fans are fighting. However, those who ought to support her are too preoccupied with politics. Clark is more than simply the future. She has already shown up. The issue is that the old guard continues to act as though they are about to be ran over, and it is 2010. This is a reckoning, not merely a dispute. Although Caitlin Clark's fame isn't going away, the WNBA's management and her own team may be missing out on a once-in-a-lifetime chance. Additionally, as Sophie Cunningham consistently reminds us, you're either with her or you're a complete moron. And believe me, if you thought this was crazy, the next update might blow up the internet. Thus, please press the bell, subscribe, and leave a comment to make your voice known. This storm has only just begun.